Jujutsu Kaisen, chapter 268 is here. The fight against Sukuna is officially over, and we also get to see the conclusion of the Hakari vs. UraUme fight, and it looks like the culling games are over. However, Yuta is in trouble and needs saving. Sit back, relax, and let's go through it all. The title of the chapter is Finale, and we get an editor's comment, Sukuna's all mouth inside Fushiguro's soul. Now just note that this is not the official translation, and I think the meaning here is that Sukuna is being talkative inside Megumi's soul. Anyway, Sukuna says to Megumi, "Just how do you think you'll be able to go on? You had your body stolen by me. You murdered your own sister. You turned away the hands reaching out to you. Oh right, that brat you saved, even ended up slaughtering thousands. Give it up. You can't live a proper life anymore. Just relax and leave it all to me." However, Megumi replies to him saying, "Why do you sound so desperate? Is it because there's only one left? Only one more of your fingers? There's a special way to turn yourself into a cursed object, which means if Itadori takes no care in tearing you from me here, you'll die. Plus, that resonance isn't all good news for you. If these 19 fingers disappear, that lone finger won't have enough pull to connect your soul to it. Even something like you fears death. From the very start, I never intended to live a proper life. Sounds obvious, but there are tons more people in this world than just me. Just once more, I think I want to try living for someone else." Now, there's a lot to unpack from this discussion. The first thing to note is Sukuna's desperation to live. I mean, Sukuna is from the Heian era. He participated in countless fights, plus he always searched for the strongest sorcerers to fight them. Remember that from the start of the series, Sukuna promised Gojo that he would be the first person he fights after being completely reincarnated. Now, Sukuna isn't naive or stupid. At the time, he knew he didn't have any counter to Gojo's infinity, and that's why he took over Megumi's body. Sukuna's entire character is built upon searching for strong opponents with creative jujutsu techniques. Another instance of this is his fight with Jogo in the Shibuya incident. Jogo gave Sukuna multiple fingers, and to reward him, he offered him a duel. And you would think that someone like Sukuna is completely ready and prepared to die, but the reality is another thing. And I'm kind of disappointed to see Sukuna so desperate to live. Also, Megumi explained a very important thing. Megumi mentions that if Yuji doesn't take care of tearing Sukuna from Megumi's body, then he'll die. This implies that to this moment, Yuji can still save Sukuna's life. And this is very important, and we'll understand why in the upcoming panels. Another important point Megumi cleared is if these 19 fingers disappear, then that last finger won't have enough pull to connect with Sukuna's soul. This means if Sukuna dies here, this is it and won't get the chance to come back again. And the last thing I would like to highlight is Megumi's development. At the start of the series, we saw that Megumi was ready to sacrifice his life and die. Despite having one of the most broken techniques in the series, Megumi was ready to throw away his life. The best example of this was what he did in Shibuya. He summoned Mahoraga, knowing that he'll be the first person to die. So I really like Megumi's character development, and it was great to see that even after all the struggles he went through, Yuji finally reached him and showed him that there's still more to life. Now back to the fight, where we see Yuji's domain crumble, and we that Sukuna is separated from Megumi's body. As Sukuna screams in agony, it looks like a curse is being peeled from his body, and Megumi is finally free. This might be the effect of Yuji's domain. We know that Yuji's dismantle has the ability to target the soul, so what if Yuji's sure hit effect inside the domain separates the soul from the body? This would explain what we're seeing here. This is just a guess, and we don't get any explanation about Yuji's domain. Yuji looks down on the residual of Sukuna and asks, "What will you do, Sukuna?" Referring to Yuji's previous proposal where he promised to spare Sukuna's life if he released Megumi and returned to Yuji's body. Yuji then does something that I really didn't like at first, but after doing some research, I've changed my mind and think that this shows Yuji's growth. Yuji says to Sukuna, "You're me. We're born into this world unconsciously shouldering curses. What sort of monster you turn into is entirely decided by luck, and I had my gramps. Sukuna, let's try it one more time. Living not by cursing someone, but by existing alongside them. Even if no one else will accept you, I'll live with you." However, Sukuna refuses Yuji's proposal. And I really didn't like what Yuji did at first, but when you think about it, from Yuji's perspective, this makes sense. I first compared it to the discussion with Mahito. I liked what Yuji said to Mahito at the end of their fight. Knowing that Mahito is a cursed spirit, it can be reincarnated in the future. We saw Yuji showed no mercy to Mahito. He even said, "I'll accept it, Mahito. I am you. I wanted to reject you. I wanted to pretend I didn't understand what you said, but that's different now. I'll just kill you. And if you're ever reborn again as a new curse, I'll kill you then too. You can change your name and change your appearance, but I'll still kill you again and again. I don't need meaning or a reason for it anymore." At the time, I really liked Yuji's actions, and even to this moment, what he said to Mahito was correct. However, I don't think we can compare Mahito to Sukuna. Mahito is a cursed spirit. He is born from cursed energy. However, Sukuna is a product of circumstances. Sukuna's bad luck started when he was in his mother's womb. Yuji sees a lot of similarities between himself and Sukuna. That's why he is offering a new start. Anyway, after that we transition to Hakari and UraUme. As they become aware of Sukuna's defeat, UraUme says, "It's finished. There's nothing more to do. The only possible cause of Master Sukuna's defeat would be his incarnated form. You plebeians had no strength. Luck was just on your side. You narrowly escaped death by simply being born 1,000 years too late." Hakari responds by saying, "Luck was on my side, huh? That's the highest praise a guy like me can get." And as UraUme's body crumbles, she says, "I suppose you're right." Although I agree that our main protagonists would have no chance of defeating Hainara Sukuna, I believe that the original Sukuna has no chance of defeating Gojo simply because he has no counter to Gojo's infinity. The only reason Sukuna won was because he had the 10 Shadows technique. Next, we transition a couple of days into the future. Megumi finally wakes up as Yuji and Nobara are trying to surprise him. They were trying to pull a similar surprise to the one Gojo did with Yuji at the start of the series. As they are all together, Yuji gives Megumi and Nobara letters from Gojo. There are only 2 letters because Yuji talked to him directly. Just after Nobara opens her letter, she crumbles it because it contains information on her mother, and Nobara has no interest in knowing anything about that. On the other hand, Megumi is trying to hold his laugh after reading his letter. Nobara thinks he's been promoted to a special grade, but as they read the letter, they are more shocked and ask why Megumi is even laughing. Megumi says it's all good, and we learn that the letter tells Megumi that Gojo was the one to kill his father, and I think Megumi reacted like this because he knows what his father used to do. I don't think he knows exactly who his father is, at least this is what it looked like in Shibuya, but it's safe to assume that he knows his father was an assassin. Anyway, after that, the 3 of them remember they need to go meet the others. Megumi says he needs to apologize to everyone and thank them, but it looks like they are meeting about Yuta. They need to save him. And we see Maki, Toga, Panda, Kusakabe, Miwa, and Momo heading somewhere. Unfortunately, the chapter ends here, and we get the editor's comment. Is Okotsu alright? Only 3 chapters remain. And this has to be about what Yuta did at the end of the fight. I wonder if Yuta will remain in Gojo's body or transfer back to his original body. On the other hand, the end of the fight appears like a bit of lazy writing. We don't know how the culling games ended, or why the merger didn't start. Who is replacing Tengen if even there's a replacement? Because the entire world knows about cursed energy by now. Plus, we have a lot of questions we didn't get any answers to. The main one is what is the relation between Tengen, Sukuna, and Kenjaku? These 3 knew each other in the past, and we believe that Tengen wasn't telling the complete truth. Anyway, we still have 3 more chapters to go, and maybe we'll get some answers by then.